Assalamualaikum, my name is Megat Illmi and I will be talking about Industrial Revolution 4. The Industrial Revolution is divided into four parts, which is the first was related to steam powered machines, and the second was related to mass production, which was electric based. The third, computer and internet based, an explosion of information, and the fourth is the advanced version of the third industrial revolution. We are in a transition to the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, so the third revolution was the introduction of internet, and the fourth will be the advanced version, which is better computers, better AI, better technology. Okay, so there are many pillars of the industrial revolution, but right now I am going to talk about the one of the pillars, which is called cognitive computing. Okay, so let's first define what is cognitive computing. Cognitive meaning relating or being or involving any activity which is intellectual activity. Intellectual activity means thinking, reasoning, or remembering. See, cognitive thinking cannot be done by normal computers. And the second half of cognitive computing, which is computing, means any activity that involves computers. So cognitive computing is actually could be defined as the evolution of computers, which computers can think and they can learn. Computers can remember, and they do not only and computers don't only follow a set of rules that we have programmed it to follow, like the normal computers from Industrial Revolution 3. So in cognitive computing, we are trying to mimic the brain. The brain is a very, very good and very fascinating computer. It's not a computer, but it computes. It has a way of calculating. It's very intelligent. So the brain is different from the standard computer, which can only follow sets of instructions. If you know programming, you know that coding and programming only follows a set of rules. Okay, if you see this, do this. If you see that, do that. If you see this, cancel. That's how programming simply means in a simple definition. But for cognitive computing, we want it to think, we want it to learn, we want the computer to remember and define by itself. It can get smarter. That's the fascinating part. A cognitive computer, what we are trying to build is something that can remember, that can learn. It uses self-learning algorithms that involve data mining, pattern recognition, and natural language processing. So data mining means extracting information from a large set of data. So this large set of data can mean many things. You could dump a set of images to a computer, and if it has cognitive reasoning, it can extract the data, the images that we want. So it knows how to recognize the type of images that I want. So that's what data mining is. Or you could define it as getting a set of data from a larger set of data, which is maybe the internet. So it could take its own data from the internet, usable data and very smart data. It could take it from the internet and make it into its own. Okay, so the second one was, if you remember, it was pattern recognition. Okay, so pattern recognition is very important. You wouldn't think it was important, but for a computer which can't learn, pattern recognition is impossible. Pattern recognition makes you able to think, able to learn. If you know patterns, you can learn the patterns. So if a computer could learn a pattern, it could determine what and predict what comes next. Like if you have done an IQ test, there are some parts of the test to they give you a few numbers and they tell you to predict what's the next number. If a computer was smart, it could detect what was the next number. Humans can. Why? Because we are intellectual. We can think, remember, and learn. And we can recognize patterns. If a computer could do that, it could do so much more. And the third one is natural language processing. Natural language processing meaning that it can interact. The computer can interact. It can learn. It can understand, and it can interpret human language. This is actually very, very hard to do. An example, we already had a breakthrough with this. Google Assistant, it can very much understand, but the thing is, it's not perfect yet. There are some things that Google Assistant or Siri can't understand. So if we were to have a major breakthrough, if we were to go further, a computer could understand humans. They could understand how and what humans are talking about, even if in a normal conversation it could interact and speak back. Okay, let me give you an example of some machines or softwares that use cognitive computing. If you heard about this, there is a program called AlphaGo, which was created by DeepMind Technologies and right now it's owned by Google. As far as I know, it was later acquired by Google. Okay, so AlphaGo is a software or a computer machine that plays Go. Go is a type of board game. It's like chess, but it originated in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. So Go is considered one of the most hardest board games in the world. So Go, you see, AlphaGo can recognize patterns. It can learn. It can take a lot of data from past games and use it for itself. That's how it makes it almost unbeatable. Only one person has defeated AlphaGo, and that was in 2000 something. I think it was 2015 or 16. It defeated AlphaGo. AlphaGo defeated Lee Sedol, which was a South Korean champion. He was ranked number 1, and he got 4 losses against AlphaGo, winning only 1 time. He only won 1 time, and he was the only one who ever defeated AlphaGo. And after that, it's even hard to defeat AlphaGo because AlphaGo can learn, is a cognitive computer. Okay, so if we can succeed and make cognitive computing something more bigger, we could use it in things like customer service. We could have like a robotic butler that can understand your needs and can talk to you. Customer service, for customer service is really important because if a computer could really recognize what customers want, then it would change the world. If, for example, if you were if you just talk to a robot and you could tell it what you want and it could suggest, and then everything would be so much easier rather than making your own decision and researching. This computer could actually research for you, and it could help you make better decisions. And the good thing about computers is it researches faster. It can data mine faster than the human brain can. So what do you think? How far can we go with cognitive computing? In 10 to 20 years, how far could we go? Could we have a butler who uses cognitive computing and can tend to human needs? I'll let you think about that. Thank you.